What is up, everybody? Wix here, coming with another free-to-play friendly guide, and today we're going to be talking about the Fire Knight. We are in the last half hour of this artifact event, so I do have to do this quickly, so hopefully I don't miss anything important, but I want to be able to strip the gear off these champs when I'm done, so we're going to hop right into it. This is basically just going to show you the team that I used, or I think it's a similar team that I used to clear the Fire Knight for the Arbiter missions. The most important thing here, with any dungeon that has wave content, you need to bring champions that can deal with the waves. So you have a few options. You can either bring crowd control to stop them from moving. You can bring what I'm doing here, which is a revive plus healer combination, which is just going to make sure that no matter what happens, we keep everybody alive. Or you can do like the Seer nuke strategy or big AoE nukers, and just take down the waves very quickly. Early game, when you're going for the Arbiter missions, you're not going to have any of that, so I recommend the Apothecary and Broadmaw, or you could sub in like Jamarsa, or you just have to put your Broadmaw into like Immortal and regen sets, and then this you could put a high Katoon here for the speed lead and an extra decreased speed. Then you have to consider how you're going to deal with the boss, and with Fire Knight you've got you need multi-hitters basically to take down the shield as soon as possible, and then after that you've got to decide if you have the champions to do a turn meter control style team where the Fire Knight never takes a turn, or in this case, I'm bringing a heal reduction with Life Taker here. So with heal reduction, you can bring tanky healers and revivers, and every time the Fire Knight kills them, they'll just get revived. You whittle the shield down, and very slowly over time, you're going to eventually kill the boss. Runic Warder is a pretty solid option here. Any boss like this, it's good to have a decrease attack. And he's got a decrease attack on his A2. But he's also got a 2-hitter, 2-hitter, and his reflect damage here, which will take down 5 of the boss shield when you get hit, as long as it's up on everybody. So if you're bringing reflect damage, you want them to be the slowest on the team, but not too slow. The boss runs at 100 speed, so I'm aiming between anywhere from 170 to 200 speed with my team. Apothecary's running a bit faster, so we'll see how this goes. Life Taker has heal reduction on her A1, which is a 2-hitter. She's also got a decreased turn meter triple hitter on her A2. So she's actually really clutch for Fire Knight. Broadmaw's got the A1 freeze. I've got the mastery, which adds a leech to it, so it's just a little bit of extra healing. In early game, you're going to have all your damage dealers in lifesteal anyway, so Kale is still rocking his lifesteal set. And you'll just notice they slowly just whittle the wave down over time. Get those freezes out with Broadmaw. You don't need to build resistance for this dungeon. There's nothing you're really trying to resist. So with your supports, you can just go full speed and tankiness. If you want to land freezes or debuffs, you'll need at least 200 accuracy for stage 20. So you notice people just die. Doesn't matter, Broadmaw just will continue to raise them. And he puts the block damage on them too, so they have one extra turn to recuperate. But this will be a very, very slow run. This is just like, if you didn't pull any good champs, and you really just need to get Fire Knight 20 done for an early Arbiter mission, you can run something like this. Ideally, when you get Drexstar, he subs in really well for like a Runic Warder. Like, he can take a Runic Warder spot. He does AoE HP burns. He's got the Provoke. He's got the triple hitter A1. It'll take the waves down quickly. it'll give you some more protection so Kale doesn't die as much. So you'll do damage faster and all that. Broadmaw's in a Relentless set, which is kind of nice, getting those extra turns. People spend less time dead. And Apothecary's also in a Relentless. Early on, obviously you want to try, if you can, to win your tag team arena tournaments. It's a really good way to get early 6-star artifacts, which can be some of the strongest pieces on your account. And if you plan it out, save your token refill from the day before, buy an arena token refill for 15 gems the day before, and then also buy the 15 gem refill every day the tournament runs. I never had, well, there was one tag team tournament that I lost by like 15 points or something, but generally I never had a problem winning the tournaments. And the most I ever spent, I think, was about 120 gems or so on refills. But you can use those extra gold bars to buy the energy from the shop. I like to buy the energy and the ancient shard, as well as the rare tomes. So yeah, this isn't a pretty run. It's just for the Arbiter mission, so you can do a full auto. I think you get the idea, so I'm gonna pause it and we'll come back in when we're at the boss. Alright, so we're on the second wave here with the last two liches. It's important here that everyone is alive to go into the boss round, which shouldn't be an issue because the lich don't do much damage. I did change the AI preset though. I turned off Runic Warder's A3, his reflect damage and heal, and I turned off Kale's what's it called? His 4-hitter poison. I turn off that in wave 2, that way it's gonna be available at the start of the boss round. So basically stage 20, you can bring a full turn meter team with champs like Armiger, Vizix, Allure, Geomancer. But once you get past 20, the effects of turn meter reduction are halved, I believe. So it becomes more difficult to control the boss unless you have really fast champions. So I much prefer a setup like this with the heal reduction. As long as you have your supports built decently tanky and fast, and you have some form of healing like regen set, immortal sets, or an apothecary, this is a very good way to do it. The first time I did this for the Arbiter missions, it took me 34 minutes to clear this stage 20 on auto. So I'm hoping it's not quite that long now. I didn't put great gear on a couple of the champs, but Kale is in a decent damage build. But yeah, champs like Coldheart, Royal Guard, any AoE HP burners. Venomage is especially good. When I got Venomage, I used him for stage 20, pushing up to stage 24, 25. He not only brings the heal reduction, but he has great wave damage, and his passive makes the enemies do a bit less damage to you. Slowly but surely, we're making it through. Broadmaw's freezes are coming in clutch there to make sure we don't take damage. In terms of masteries, you can go War Master on your champs or Giant Slayer for more damage. I prefer supports going tankier route with like resistance. I usually go resistance on any type of support champ for other areas of the game and get the defensive masteries. So you can see here we're going to open with our multi-hitters. Kale did not for some reason. Doesn't matter, he broke the shield anyway. And then hopefully we can get back around to Runic Warder here. Yeah. So I speed tuned it so that Runic Warder was the last champion to go. And that way the buff would be up on everybody by the time the Fire Knight hit us. Hopefully we get a decreased attack on. Nice. So that's going to reduce the damage we take. And we need to get this healing reduction. Okay, we got decreased speed up. That's going to make it much easier for us to take down the shield next time. But we still don't have the heal reduction up, so we just got to wait. Reapply that decreased attack. Got resisted. We weak hit, so we didn't get the decreased speed reapplied either. This is the problem with bringing all magic champions to this fight. We didn't get the heal reduction on. It's not a 100% chance to apply. There we go. Okay, so now the heal reduction's on. So as long as we can keep it maintained, we're slowly going to whittle the boss down. You can see that reflect damage coming in clutch there. Got the decreased speed again. Perfect. So I won't make you sit through all this, but you get the idea. Just keep everybody sustained and healed up. Multi-hitters to take down the shield, decrease speed and heal reduction, reflect damage to take down the shield faster, and you're just slowly going to make your way through the hit points bar. So I'll be back. Alright, so he's taken his last turn. It's not fast, it's not pretty, but if you just need to get your Arbiter done, this will do the trick. And then once you're finished that, Arbiter can slot in for Broadmaw, and it speeds up the run a little bit because she's got the multi-hitter, and yeah, she's just a better reviver overall. So we'll check out the builds real quick so I can take the gear off of them, because we've got 6 minutes left. Okay, so Broadmaw, he's in a decent Relentless build. Just prioritizing speed and tankiness. He's got resistance for other dungeons and for normal Doom Tower, and some accuracy to land debuffs. He's definitely worth booking in the early game if you don't get another solid reviver, and then you can use him in Faction Wars. I have Timely Intervention on him, but you can go for Unshakable. Those are about the only two I'd use. I wouldn't go War Master with Broadmaw. That's not... You don't really need damage from him. Just build him tanky and fast. Runic Warder here. I put him in just a random shield set, so you can check the stats out there. I'm now going to remove them. But again, you're just building him tanky, and his speed needs to be just slightly slower than everybody else, but still fast enough to go before the boss lays his smackdown. And I just went half masteries. I was going for War Master for Faction Wars, but I never ended up finishing his masteries because I cleared Dwarf Faction Wars 21 without them. Kale is in his hybrid dungeon arena nuker build. Definitely book him. War Master for clan boss damage and for dungeon damage, and then just accuracy masteries. Phantom Touch on any of your attack type champions can deal a pretty significant amount of extra damage. It's kind of like a mini War Master. Life Taker. Oh, one other thing too. If you've got Revenge accessories, which you should be buying with all your clan gold in the early game, Revenge accessories and energy, If you've got revenge accessories, they can help out a lot taking the shield down when he gets his turn. And then I threw her in a retaliation set just to test it out. I totally forgot about that. But if you have a decent retaliation set, throw it on one of your multi-hitters. Like this girl's the perfect candidate for a retaliation set. But again, you're just building her for speed. Oh no. Okay. Maybe I can just sell something real quick. Okay, I don't really need that. Yeah, she's just there to, you just need to make sure she has enough accuracy to land her debuff. And survive a couple of hits during the waves so that everyone doesn't die and crumple very quickly. You can get overrun if you are too weak. If your team is built too weak, you won't make it through the waves because you don't have crowd control. So you do need to make sure you can survive at least a couple of hits with each. Oh, and then the masteries on her. I did go for War Master for Faction Wars. But again, you can go for like Eagle Eye if you're having trouble hitting the accuracy. You can go defensive masteries instead of accuracy if you want and go with War Master. Not a big deal. She doesn't really need masteries. And then Apothecary, I did have him in Giant Slayer the first time I did Arbiter missions. Giant Slayer and support masteries. But then I changed him to defense for the resistance because I was trying to use him in Hard Doom Tower. Again, he's just in a decent Relentless build. Of course, booked. Decent speed. Enough resistance for normal Doom Tower. So yeah, that's the Fire Knight 20 team. When you get up to Fire Knight 25 or 24, it's really up to your discretion where you're going to farm. I farm 24 because I like the energy to gear ratio better. But if you're a lot of weak affinity, you can go to 25. Oh, shit. Okay, I had this chick in my team for the heal reduction. So you can use Life Taker again for 24. I'm going to use... I don't know, should I use a Cold Heart? I'll just throw Venomage in. If you don't have a Venomage, you can use Renegade or Life Taker or really any heal reduction. You just got to make sure your supports here are built very tanky. Once you get to 24, the boss hits much harder. The waves hit much harder. So you need crowd control and you need tanky builds. I'm bringing in Kale again just because he does the job here. You could replace him with a Cold Heart. I just need to make sure he opens, yeah, with Disintegrate and doesn't use it there. Venomage you want to open with his A1. Drexstar's opening with his A1. Syl, you don't want her to use her AoE. And you don't want Kale to use his AoE during the boss round. So that all looks good. You can replace Syl with Arbiter. You just need to bring a decreased speed somewhere in the team. So if you have a Royal Guard instead of Kale, that would be good too. And I think this looks good. I didn't test any of this out, so I'm hoping it works. So the waves are going to go a lot faster here with Venomage. And with Drexstar putting out HP burns. Drexstar not only has Provoke, but he lands to decrease attack too. Which really helps with the damage here. And as he gets hit, he starts putting HP burns out. Kale or your Royal Guard or your Cold Heart is going to die a lot. They basically get one shot at this point. I'm going to have to change my thumbnail to take Life Taker out and put Venomage in instead. Unfortunate. If the free artifact event had gone longer, I would have risked it, but I didn't want to have any gear on her, so. You can farm 24 with her. Just going to take a lot longer to get through the waves. Basically, your only damage will be Drexar's HP burns. And I guess Kale does a little bit of damage. If you did the Grishak rat fusion, he would be a prime candidate for wave clear in a team like this. If you got him, you can basically slot him into any dungeon team and he's going to do work for you. Similarly, if you've been playing long enough that you got, what's her name, Morrigan? Morrigan has heal reduction every time she takes a turn. She places heal reduction. So she can sub in for your heal reduction spot if you got her during the fusion. So you get the idea of the waves. I'll pause and come back at the boss round. Okay, we're just about done the wave here. So on the boss, you should notice the AI presets. Everyone will be opening with their multi-hitters. The boss has 12 instead of 10 shield at this stage. One other nice thing is if you get a Phantom Touch proc, it actually counts as an extra hit. So this will be a little bit of a painful experience, waiting until we get the shield down and get the decreased speed on. Yeah, we weak hit again. I also forgot to turn off Drexar's AoE. You just want him using his multi-hitter every time. Okay, so hopefully we get a decreased speed up. Perfect. So that just gives us the opportunity to get more rounds of attacks off. Apothecary giving us some turn meter boosting. And then hopefully we can get up decrease attack. That's good. We'll take less damage now. So you obviously don't want to be farming this stage with a team like this. I just wanted to show you that it is possible with a minimalist team to actually clear the dungeon. So now we need to get the healing reduction off from Venomage, hopefully. There it is. So as long as that stays on, it's a very long turn. 3 or 4 turns with Venomage if you have the mastery. And it should stay up from now on. One nice thing about a team like this where the boss takes a lot of turns, if you're bringing poisoners like Venom Mage or Kale or Dark Kale or, you know, Theodore, any of the good poisoners, it's actually beneficial for the boss to take multiple turns as long as you can survive. You get all that extra poison damage. Almost there. Beauty. So that's 24. I'll show you the gear sets on those champs. You've already seen Kale and Apothecary. So Drexstar, for the early and mid game, and I guess even now that I'm in late game, I still run him in a lifesteal build. The gear has gotten slightly better over time, but when I was first clearing Fire Knight 24, I had him in a similar build. I did go ahead and book him. I think he's worth the books if you get him early and you don't pull a ton of really good Legos. Giant Slayer Mastery, so he can make use of the lifesteal set, and then Defensive Tree. You can go for accuracy if you're having trouble meeting the gear requirements. But like between Perception set and having an accuracy banner on him, to get to 200 accuracy is not a big deal, so you should be fine. Sill of the Drakes, I've got her in a tanky, fast, relentless set. Well, not even really that fast, just tanky. High resistance for hard Doom Tower. Not a ton of hit points, but enough, and a decent amount of defense. Always book your Sill. And then I go Fearsome Presence for wave content. You can go for Unshakable. You could go for War Master. I prefer defensive masteries on Sill. She just needs to be tanky, fast, and reliable. And then Venom Mage, he's in a dungeon solo dual build. Regen and Immortal. These stats are way overkill for what you need for Fire Knight 24. But he's booked out. And then he's got Oppressor. If you get an early Venom Mage, you use him in Clan Boss. I used to have mine in War Master, so he works fine that way as well. And then some good alternatives, or some other good champs for Fire Knight. These days I run it with a Seer nuke team, but if you don't have a Seer, you can use champs like Geomancer. If you pull an early Allure, she's a beast for Fire Knight. Vizix, if you've got one of her, she's got the A1 turn meter control. She brings a decreased speed, ally protection, and also provoke for the waves. So she's a really solid Fire Knight champ. You've got your Armigers. They can still come in. The only difference is you do need them to be running quite fast if you want to bring them to 24. And you need to build them super tanky. Oh. Let's go like that. I was wondering why my champ selection seemed off there. But yeah, Armigers are good. You just want to go with War Master for more damage, accuracy masteries. One thing for Fire Knight you can do instead of accuracy masteries, you can put your champs in retribution. Then when the Fire Knight smacks you, you have a chance to get a retaliation off. That can help you if you're having trouble getting the shield down. Champs like Coffin Smasher are really nice for Fire Knight. He's got triple hit A1 with decreased attack, HP burn for more damage on the waves and for the boss, and his passive will help you survive AoE attacks from the boss. Of course, Coldheart is an ace, really good for Fire Knight. Aethel, if you started with her or you have one built for Faction Wars, triple hit A1, some decent wave damage. Any turn meter boosters like Deacon, Lysandra, Morrigan, Necmo Thar, they can all be really good for Fire Knight as well. And then of course any like revivers. If you're using a strategy with heal reduction, you can bring any type of reviver. Arbiter was the one I used for a long time. I used I think a mixture of Arbiter and Syl. But the key is just being able to get to the boss safely with everybody alive, and then you either need to turn meter control the boss with your Cold Hearts, Armigers, decrease speed, Royal Guards, Allure, or you need to do the heal reduction strat. So yeah, hopefully I didn't miss anything important. I know I tend to ramble in these vids, but if any of the advice helps you get your Arbiter, I believe it will have been worth the while. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.